Hello. Come on to a seated position. This is a vinyasa flow class, so there will be lots of movement throughout. And please make modifications to suit how you're feeling today. Feel free to push yourself as much as you can, and of course ease off when that's really what you need. Nelson Mandela said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Fear can help keep us safe. That sensation of fear, of being afraid of something, can keep us from dangerous situations. And other times, that fear is something to be observed, to notice, feel, and then make the decision whether or not to honor that sensation or whether to find the courage to move past. It might be a fear of public speaking. I used to be terrified of public speaking. But I had to really look deep within. What was that fear based on? Was it valid? Was I really putting myself in danger? And then it takes practice and courage to move through. Might also be fear of riding a bike. Maybe if you've fallen off the bike, had a bad fall, it can take some courage to get back on the bike. I now have a young horse, and sometimes I feel a lot of fear and anxiety when I choose to get on her. And I have to respect that fear, see if it's valid or not, maybe listen to it on some days. But on other days, it's important to find the courage and get back in the saddle and move forward. So I invite you to pause here. Think of something that makes you a little fearful. See if it's something you can push through. If it's healthy, it might be needing to have a conversation with somebody, a difficult conversation. Or it might be something completely different. Pause and think of what that is. And if it's safe and if it's the right thing to do, practice finding that courage within, that strength, and move through it. We can practice right here on the safety of the yoga mat. I invite you to practice with courage, with grit, and do your very best to get the very most out of this practice. With your hands resting on your knees, just lean back. And then as you inhale, come forward, opening your chest forward, shoulders back. Exhaling, lean back, rounding your back, maybe tucking your chin. Then inhaling, come forward. Just move through here, letting your spine stretch and open. And then as you lean back, pause here and let your shoulders come to the right and then forward and then over to the left and back. Just making a big slow circle with your upper body. And pause somewhere and go the other direction, making a big slow circle. And come back to center. Straighten your right leg and bring your left foot somewhere near your right knee or your inner thigh. Place your left hand on the mat behind you. Roll onto the left knee and lift the hips up, reaching the right arm up over your head. Now slowly lower your right arm, and hips, and lower your hips till they're almost touching the mat but not quite. And then reach your hips and right arm back up. And lower down and up. Keep the hips off the ground the whole time, lowering down and up, and down and up. Just moving slow with control. A couple more times. And then lifting your hips up and arm up, pause here. And lower your hips back down. And come on to tabletop on all fours. Keeping your left knee where it is, straighten your right leg. Pivot on your left knee and bring your left foot behind you. Reach your right arm up. Lift your right leg up and slowly down without touching the mat and up again. You can keep that right foot flexed as you lift that leg up and down. Just slowly. Couple more times. And now just hold the lifted leg up. Lower your right hand to your right hip and lower that right foot to the mat and come up to a kneeling position with your right leg straight. Turn your left palm out. Inhaling, reach your left arm up and over. Right hand slides down your right leg. Lower your left hand to the mat and reach your right arm and leg up. Right foot and arm down, left arm up and over. Just move through the sequence a couple of times. Right leg and arm up, right foot and arm down, left arm up and over. Just moving through, slowly with control. And one more time, up and over, left hand to the mat, lower your right hand to the mat, coming back to tabletop, come to a seated position, and now left leg straight and in front, right foot near your left inner thigh or knee, right hand on the mat behind you, reach your left arm up, roll onto the right knee, and lift your hips right up off the mat. And then lower your hips and arm down till your hips are almost touching but not. Reach your left arm up, hips back up, and down, and up, and down, and up. Just move through with control. Couple more times. And then when your hips and arm are lifted, pause here. Lower your left hand to the front of the mat beside your right, coming to tabletop. Straighten your left leg out behind you. Pivot on your right knee and bring your right foot behind you. Roll onto the sole of the left foot and reach your left arm up. Keeping the left foot flexed, reach that left leg up and down and up and down. Ideally, don't let that left foot touch the mat. Breathe here. Now lower the left foot to the mat, left hand to left hip. Lift your torso up, turn your right palm up, inhaling, reach your right arm up and over. Left hand slides down the left leg. Lower the right hand to the mat, left arm up, Option to reach left leg up. Lower it down, lower hand down, come on up. Right arm up and over. And back down, left arm up. Maybe left leg up. And then back up and over and down. And leg up and down. Just move through here a couple more times. And then lower your right hand, left arm up, left leg up for a breath or two. Then lower your left hand and knee to the mat and come back to tabletop. Straighten your left leg behind you, toes touching the mat. Keep the left foot flexed as you lift the left leg up and down without touching the mat. Up and foot down till it's just hovering above the mat, and then back up and down. Just move, isolating the left leg here. Leg is straight. Rest of the body is still. And breathe. And then lower your left knee to the mat and straighten the right leg. You can just start with the toes resting on the mat, keeping that right foot flexed. Lift the leg up and down and up. And as you go down, keep the toes off the mat and up and down and up and down. A few more times, just isolating that right leg. And breathe here. And then lower your right knee to the mat and pause here. Now straighten your left leg out behind you, left heel same height as left hip. Lower that left hip so it's level with your right. Strong core. Reach your right arm forward. Inhaling, as you exhale, bring your elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to touch. And lengthen. Keep going, following your breath. As it gets challenged, find the courage, the endurance to keep going. And when your elbow and knee are next touching, pause here. Lower that hand and knee to the mat. And now straighten the right leg out. Toes pointed towards the mat. Lower that right hip so it's level with your left. Core engaged. Extend your left arm forward. As you exhale, round your back, elbow and knee to touch. As you inhale, straighten the arm and leg. Exhale, touch. Inhale, straighten. Keep going at your own pace. Just moving through. And next time the elbow and knee are touching, pause here. And lower your hand and knee to the mat. Place the tops of the feet on the mat. And slowly lower your hips over your heels. Option to stretch the arms forward as you let your head lower towards the mat, or rest your forearms on the mat. And then place your hands on the mat. Lift up through tabletop. Walk your hands forward or your knees back. And then lower right onto your belly. Place the tops of the feet on the mat. With the hands just resting light on the mat, lift your chest forward and up. And cobra. To protect your low back, you can keep your lowest rib cage on the mat. And then lower down. Press your hands into the mat to lift up through tabletop. And then back to child's pose. As you inhale, round your back, lifting your hips up. Walking your hands forward again. Slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Forward and up in cobra. And lower down. Pressing through tabletop. Back to child's pose. So we're going to work through the sequence a few times at your own pace. Going through child's pose, walking forward and lowering into cobra. And then back, all the while keeping the tops of your feet pressed into the mat. If any of these shapes really resonate with your body, just hang out there for a few breaths. Or if the movement is what your body needs, just keep moving through one to the other and back. And then last time through, we'll meet back in tabletop and pause here. As you inhale, lower your chest and belly towards the mat. Think of tilting your pelvis forward, maybe looking up. As you exhale, reach your spine up, letting your head lower. Inhaling, arch. And exhaling, round. Just move through here at your own pace. Letting your spine stretch and open. And then pause here. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up and walk your feet forward to your hands. Letting your knees bend as much as you need to keep your spine nice and straight. And then on your exhale, bow forward. Your hands might dangle, maybe they reach the mat. Maybe you straighten one knee and the other, maybe both. Inhale, slowly rise to standing, but keep your chin tucked until you're all the way up. Then arms up over your head. Exhale, palms together, and lower your hands. Inhaling, arms up. Soft knees as you fold forward on your exhale. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together and lower your hands. Come onto the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back, fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend your left knee. Bring that right hip forward so you're facing the front of the mat. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat on either side of your left foot. Using your core on your next inhale, lift your arms back up. Exhale, use your core to fold forward. Inhaling, lift. Exhale, lower. Keep that left knee bent. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. And again, lift up. And exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Step your right foot back even further. And then gently pulse the hips towards the mat. Keeping that right knee off the mat. Think of letting the hips lower. And then bend the right knee and step that right foot forward beside the left and fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Feet hip distance apart again. Step your left foot back. Bend the right knee. Left hip forward. Inhale, arms up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise. See if you can use just your core to lower and rise. Lowering on your exhale. And rise. And lower. And rise. Keep going at your own pace. Just find that strength, that courage, that mental strength to keep going as we move. And the next time both hands are on the mat on either side of your right foot, pause here. Step your left foot back even further. Keeping the left knee off the mat, pulse the hips towards the mat, just gently up and down, as if you could lower your hips. And then pause here, bend the left knee, and step that left foot forward beside the right, and bow forward. Take a couple of breaths here. Place both hands on the mat and come onto your knees. Now walk your knees back. Keep your hips directly above your knees and walk your hands forward. And now keep your head in line with your arms so your head is not looking up or down below your shoulders. And now make a straight line with each wrist, shoulder, and your hips. So you have a straight line. Your wrists are just light on the mat. So this is the shape you want your spine in for downward facing dog. So feel this space, the shape. Try to remember it in your body. And now tuck your toes. Make sure your hands are on the mat. Tuck your toes. And now just keeping your spine and arms straight, lift your knees up off the mat. Maybe lift them more. Think of hips up and back. In downward facing dog. Knees might stay bent the whole time, or maybe they straighten. Breathe here. Walk your feet together and lift your right leg up in the air behind you. Bend that right knee and bring it forward to touch your right elbow. Lift your right leg up and back again. Knee forward to elbow. And back. And forward. And back. And forward. Try to isolate your core. Soft shoulders. Strong core as you move through. And last time, knee to elbow. And lower that foot. And come back up to downward facing dog. Now lower both knees to the mat. And walk your hands forward again. Take a few breaths. Here with a straight line between your wrists, shoulders, and hips. And let your chest soften towards the mat. And then, again, placing your hands on the mat, tuck your toes, and lift your knees up off the mat, hips up and back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet together, and now lift your left leg up in the air behind you. Bend that left knee and bring it forward to the left elbow. And up, and forward, and up, and forward. Just move through here at your own pace. Think of that courage, maybe grit to keep going. And the next time
The knee is touching the elbow, pause here. And then lower the foot back to downward facing dog. Lower your knees, tops the feet on the mat, and gently rest for a couple of breaths in child's pose. Scan your body. Notice how you're feeling. Can you push yourself more? Is it about right? Or do you need to ease off? But keep moving. Place both hands on the mat. Lift your hips up over your knees. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat and walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Inhale, arms up over your head. Come to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Both hands on the mat, walk back to plank pose. Knees can be on or off the mat at any time throughout your practice. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage and lower down just a couple of inches. And then push back up and down and up and down. And now up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe. Come forward to plank pose. And up and down. Just a small pulse up and down in plank. And back to downward facing dog. Forward to plank. Elbows, bend them slightly to lower and back up and lower and up and downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands and pause here. Fold. Breathe. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to standing, arms up over your head, palms together. Release your hands. Turn and face the side of your mat. And we're coming into some side steps in skater's pose. So find the version that's best for you today as we move through these next steps. So start by just feet hip distance apart and just walk it out. Let your arms swing naturally. Maybe lift your knees up higher and breathe. You can also keep your hands on your hips or just let your arms move naturally. Couple more steps and slow it down and make smaller steps. And now, standing in the middle of the mat, tap your left foot to the left, back to center, right foot, tap, center, left foot, right tap, left tap. Move through here. You can let your arms stay still or just gently let your arms follow. For more engagement, the leg you're standing on, bend that knee as you tap the opposite foot forward, opposite foot to the side. Bending, almost squatting in the middle. Straighten the leg as you tap. Keep going. Tap, 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 tap. Keep moving. A few more steps. You can also make a bigger step as you jump across. Almost hop in the middle and then straighten the opposite leg. If you want a little jump here, let the arms move naturally. A few more times. And slow it down. Tap, 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 tap. Come back to center and walk it out. Maybe small steps or big steps. Keep your heart rate up. Couple more steps. And then lower it down. Slow it down. And then to come into skater's pose, place your right foot on the mat. Right knee slightly bent. Bring your left foot behind and tap your left toes to the left. Left toes to the right side. Crossing behind and back. Back to center. Right leg goes behind and to the left. Back to center. Left leg behind and back. Center. Behind and back. Center. This is skater's pose. Again, hands. Let them arms move freely. As your left leg goes back to the right, arms will go to the right. Back to center, right leg back to the left, arms follow. So you can start. So the leg you're standing on, keep that knee bent. Straighten the leg behind you. You're just tapping. So you might stay here. This might be the right version today. If you want have a more spirited sequence, you can take a hop across the mat, step the leg behind, hop across to center, and stretch behind. Hop, step, hop, step. Keep going. In skater's pose. Let your arms follow. Big step if you want, but reach that leg behind as far across as you can, bending the standing leg. Think of speed skaters. Check in with your breath. Find that determination, that courage to keep moving through this. Maybe you're just small steps in the middle and reaching that leg back. And make smaller steps. Slow it down a little bit. And come back to center. And just walk it out. Maybe making the steps bigger if that's right for you today. We'll do this sequence one more time. So now really keep your knees high if you can. Arms just swinging where they need to swing. And then still walking, we'll work on tapping. So right foot on the mat, tap the other foot. Set that foot down, tap the opposite. Tap, 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 tap. Keep going. Just let the arms relax. Maybe taking really big steps across. Maybe bending that standing knee as you stretch the other leg to the side. And keep going a couple more times. And then slow it down. Come back to center. And now for skater's pose. So remember, start feet in the center. Take your left leg, step it to the right behind you. Back to center. Right leg, cross it behind and to the left. Back to center. Left, right, left, right. Keep that standing knee bent. And straighten the leg that goes behind and across. Maybe you stay here with your feet just hip distance apart as they land in center. Or step across your mat and then reach behind. You can even add a little hop to jump across the side of your mat, if that's right for you today. Just find the right pace. It's right for you. This is Vinyasa Yoga. There's lots of movement in it. A little different from hatha and very different from yin. But they all have a place in our health, our practice. Couple more times each side. Make it count. And slow it down. Make the steps a bit smaller. And come back to center. And then just simply walk it out. Keep moving. That's important. Even if it's slow. Just really keep it moving. And then slow it down. And take your feet nice and wide. Feet firmly on the mat, parallel to each other. Hands on hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold just halfway. Inhale, lift back up. Inhale, fold forward. And exhale, back up. Even though this is using core strength, take a moment and let your breath slow down and breathe more naturally, a little less quick. Catch your breath. And the next time you're folded forward, just pause here. Nice flat back. Arms out to the side. Breathe here. Slowly rise back up. Exhale, fold forward. And back up. And fold. And up. And then lower your hands. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Twist to the right and lower your left hand to your right foot. Inhale back to center. Twist to the left, right hand to left foot. Back up. Left hand to right foot. And up. Right hand to left foot. And up. Let's move through this a couple more times. And then up, lower your right hand to your left foot. Come on back up. And lower your arms. Pivot on your left heel, turn your left toes out. Right foot is still facing the side of the mat. Bend your left knee. Arms out to the side, turn and look over your left hand. Lower your right hand to your right leg, left palm up. Inhaling, left arm up and back. And then lower your left arm, reach your right arm up. Right arm down, left arm up and back. And forward to side warrior. Side angle pose. Back to reverse warrior. Side angle pose, right arm up. Reverse warrior, left arm up. Just move through these two poses at your own pace. Can you isolate the core? Can you deepen the lunge? A couple more times. And then end in side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Lower your right hand, straighten your left leg and bring your left toes in. Now pivot on your right heel. Right foot is facing the length of the mat. Bend your right knee, arms out to the side. Turn and look over your right hand. Reach forward with your right hand, let that forearm rest on your right thigh. Left arm up. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower your left hand, right palm up, inhaling right arm up and back. Exhale, lower that arm, left arm up and back. In reverse warrior to side angle pose. Back and forth. Try to really keep that right knee bent as much as you can. Keep going. Sometimes it takes a bit of spunk or spirit to push through when our bodies want to say enough. We're almost there. And pause in Parshvakonasana. Lower your left hand and straighten your right leg. Bring your right toes in. Inhaling, arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Last time, inhale, rise up to standing. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Walk your feet together. Come onto the front of your mat. Feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back, a big step back. Hands on hips, bend that left knee. Bring the right hip forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Keep your right hand on the mat, twist to the left, and reach your left arm up. Left arm down. Inhale, arms back up. Exhale, lower your hands. Left arm up and twist. And down, and up, and down, and twist. Down, and up, down, and pause here. Bend the right knee and step that foot forward beside the left, and bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Feet hip distance apart. Step your left foot back. Do the same sequence on the other side. Bend that right knee, bring the left hip forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Twist to the right and reach your right arm up. Right arm down. Inhale, back up to warrior one. Exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Twist to the right, arm up. Lower down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, lower. And twist. And lower. And up. Exhale, lower. And twist. Lower. And up. Exhale, lower both hands. And step the left foot forward beside the right. The last pose with movement before we cool down. So feet roughly hip distance apart. Step your right foot behind you, just toes resting on the mat behind you. Left knee is slightly soft, palms together at your heart center. Focus your gaze in front of you. Lift the right foot up and flex that foot. When you're ready, fold forward, letting the leg come up. And now lower, come back to standing, just tapping the right toes to the mat. And then fold again into warrior three. And back up, toe tap, and forward into warrior three. And tap, and up, and tap. It helps to focus your gaze even though you're moving. And forward, and up. Last time forward. Just pause here for a breath. And come on up and lower that foot. Release your hands. So again, feet hip distance apart. Step your left foot back enough to tap the toes on the mat. Right knee soft. Focus your gaze in front. Palms together at your heart center. When you're ready, flex your left foot, lifting the toes up off the mat. Fold forward as the left leg comes up. Come back up, just tap the left toes and forward and up and forward and up and forward and up and forward and up. Last time, come forward and pause for a breath. Slowly come on back up. Lower that foot, release your hands. Well done. Inhale, reach your arms up, soft knees. Fold forward on your next exhale. Slowly cool down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold forward, palms together. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Let your knees be soft, straight spine. Just a couple more times. Let your breath become a little more natural. On your next forward fold, pause here. Breathe. Bend your knees and come to a seated position. So with your feet on the mat, you can either start with your hands holding on to the backs of your knees, but keep your spine straight. Or you can reach arms forward. This takes a little more engagement in your core. Shoulders back. Pause here. Feet flat on the mat. Slowly lean back. If you're using your hands behind your knees, try to hold on as little as possible. Try to use your core as much as possible. Breathe. Slowly lean back a couple more inches. Pause and breathe. And again, a little further. Maybe you're just barely hanging on to your knees. That's okay. Strong core, straight back, shoulders back. Couple more inches lower. Pause here. And then lower right onto your back. And gently hug your knees to your chest. Just take a moment and circle your knees in one direction. And then pause and go the opposite direction. And then reach your hands behind your knees, rock along your spine just a couple of times. And then come up to a seated position. Straighten your right leg out in front. Bending your left knee, left foot on the mat. Cross your left foot over your right leg. With your right arm, hug your left knee. Reach the crown of your head as tall as you can on an inhale. As you exhale, reach your left arm out to the side and behind you and gently twist to the left. Breathe. Just invite your body to soften into the twist. And then come on back to center and straighten your left leg and bend your right leg. Cross that right foot over the left. Your left arm, hug your right knee. Reach your right arm out to the side and behind you as you gently twist to the right. And then come on back to center. Uncross your legs and bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide. You can have your knees halfway between your hips and your heels, or you can bring your feet in closer if that's comfortable for you. Maybe you start with your hands on the mat behind you, and then just send your chest forward, keeping your spine straight. Maybe your hands reach your feet. As you just offer your chest forward, think shoulders back. Let your knees open wide. And breathe. Just soften into the pose. The Baddha Konasana. And a couple more breaths. And then slowly make your way back up and bring your knees together. Straighten your right leg. Flex your left foot and place that left ankle on the right knee. You can start with your hands on the mat behind you, pushing that left knee away from you. Maybe you stay here as you push your chest forward. Or bend the right knee, placing that foot on the mat, still pushing that left knee away from you. Bring that right foot in as close to your right hip as is comfortable without overdoing it. But challenge yourself a little bit to work through it. Find just the right version that's right for you. Let that left knee open. Breathe. And then straighten the right leg, uncross the legs, keep the left leg straight, cross the right leg, right ankle over left knee. Push that right knee away from you. Start with your hands on the mat behind you. Keeping that right foot flexed, bend the left knee, left foot on the mat. Push that right knee away from you. Maybe on this side you go a little deeper or not as far. But challenge yourself and go as far as you can without overdoing it. Can you inch a tiny bit further today? A few more breaths. And then straighten both legs, uncross your legs, both feet on the mat. Slide your hips forward and lower onto your back. Keep your feet on the floor, knees bent. Let your arms rest on the mat and away from your body. Slide your hips to the right, bringing your feet together. Gently let your knees roll to the left and turn your gaze to the right. Inviting your body to neutralize the practice in this gentle twist. And bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips to the left, bringing your feet together. Let your knees roll to the right, and gaze turning over towards your left arm. And make your way back to the center. One by one, let each arm rest on the mat a few inches away from your body. And then when you're ready, slowly straighten one leg and then the other. And invite your gaze to soften. If you're comfortable, you're welcome to close your eyes. And invite both your mind and body to welcome some stillness as we rest in Shavasana. Gently deepen your breath. Softly move your fingers and toes. Gently move your arms and legs. And stretch your whole body. Reach your arms up over your head, stretching your arms, your legs, your entire body. When you're ready, softly hug your knees to your chest. And pause as you roll over to one side. And take as much time as you need to slowly come back up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you.
Namaste.